Thanks for the money, clown. Just don't come. My sister laughed after cashing my payment. I smiled and replied, perfect. That night, I secretly canceled every transfer and sent an official notice canceling the wedding. On the big day, a giant black box was rolled into the silent, empty venue. The show started after. Thanks for the money, clown. Just don't come. Emma laughed, her voice slicing through the family group chat like a blade. I stared at the message, the payment notification still fresh at the top of my screen. $2,500. Gone. Straight into her account. For wedding essentials, she said. Essentials like a spa weekend and matching silk robes for her and her bridesmaids, apparently. I could almost hear her smug giggle through the text. Perfect. I typed back, smiling at my screen. It wasn't a smile of warmth. It wasn't a smile of forgiveness. It was the kind of smile you give someone right before you light the match. That night, while Emma and my parents probably toasted to their own brilliance, I quietly logged into every payment portal connected to the wedding. The caterers, the venue, the floral designer, the photographer. And one by one, I froze the payments. No refund. No warning. Just frozen. It was easier than you'd think when your name is the one on the contracts. Funny thing about generosity, people love it, until they realize it came with power they never understood. Then I sent the final message. Not to Emma. Not to the family group chat. I sent it to the entire guest list. A simple BCC email. Subject: Event update. Body: The wedding of Emma and Derek has been canceled. Please do not attend the venue. Further details to come. Thank you for understanding. No explanation. No apology. Just a black hole where her big day was supposed to be. By morning, the text started flooding in. Guests confused. Vendors furious. Emma? Silent. The venue staff told me they had never seen anything like it. The chairs still in plastic, tables half assembled, florists arguing in the parking lot. And then came the delivery. On time, as I'd arranged. A giant black box, 6 feet wide, 10 feet tall, rolled into the empty, silent hall on a dolly. No one knew what was inside. Not yet. But they would. And when they did, no one would ever look at Emma the same way again. 2 months before all hell broke loose, I was still the fool who believed helping family mattered. Emma had been planning her wedding like it was the royal event of the decade. She wanted a custom venue, a designer dress, a statement cake, everything Instagrammable. And who did she turn to for help? Me. Because I had a steady job. Because I didn't complain. Because they knew I had savings. Because I was the dependable one. It started small. A few $100s here and there. Can you cover the deposit? I'll pay you back next paycheck. Just help with the photographer. Mom said she'll split it. Every time, there was a new promise. A new lie. And every time, I told myself it was family. It was Emma, my little sister. But deep down, I knew better. Dad, of course, had his own brand of poison. He didn't ask for money outright. He demanded it. Real men don't nickel and dime their family, he said once after I hesitated to hand over a credit card for a small emergency expense. Mom? She played the silent martyr. It's just until after the wedding, she'd sigh, like she was carrying the weight of the world, and not, enabling a spoiled adult child. The others were worse. My cousins started making jokes. At a family barbecue, one of them said loud enough for everyone to hear, "When's Emma gonna add sponsor, big bro, to the wedding invites?" Everyone laughed. Even Emma. I laughed too. Tight. Fake. Counting backwards from 10 so I didn't throw a beer bottle across the yard. Then came the worst part. The family group chat blew up one night when Emma posted a photo of herself holding the custom wedding dress. $8,000 worth of lace and fantasy. Underneath, she wrote, "Thank you to the real ones who made this happen. Couldn't have done it without my amazing friends and my future husband." No mention of me. Not even a tag. I stared at the screen for a long time, feeling something in my chest twist and tear. I hadn't just given money. I had paid for that dress. When I confronted her about it, she laughed, actually laughed, and said, "Relax, it's not like it matters. You're just the wallet, not the vibe." And my parents? Dad clapped me on the back and said, "Well, son, you can't buy love. Learn that before you end up alone." That was their view of me, a clown who paid the bill and stayed out of the photos. Then it got worse. 2 weeks before the wedding, I noticed $1,200 missing from my checking account. Unauthorized transfer. Guess whose name was on the linked account? Emma's. When I confronted her, she said it was a mistake, that she thought it was her own account, And besides, what's the big deal when I make so much anyway? I froze. This wasn't just rudeness. This was theft. This was betrayal wrapped in a fake smile and glittering acrylic nails. I told Mom. She hushed me. Let's not ruin the wedding with drama. I told Dad. He barked. You're a grown man crying over a few bucks. I realized, in that moment, I was alone. And I had been for a long time. The public humiliation. The final slap came a week before the big day. Emma posted a TikTok. I didn't even know she filmed it. It was me, waiting outside a bridal shop with her dress bag in hand, standing awkwardly, scrolling my phone. She had added a caption. When your wedding sponsor is your brother, #thanks for the money. It went viral. Tens of thousands of views. Hundreds of comments laughing at the pathetic brother paying for everything. Someone even recognized me from work. Yo, is this you? My coworker texted with a screenshot. I went numb, and then something inside me turned ice. The proof. That same night, while scrolling through her wedding planning app, which she'd accidentally left logged in on my laptop once, I found everything. Spreadsheets showing exactly how she divided the sponsor money between friends and spa days. Group chats where she called me Plan B and walking ATM. Voice memos joking about how she could fake cry if I ever got suspicious. It wasn't just one bad moment. It was deliberate. It was rehearsed. It was who they were. The plan. I downloaded everything. Every chat. Every voice memo. Every receipt. Then I sat back in my chair, staring at the dark window, the city lights blinking like indifferent stars. And I decided, they wanted a clown? Fine. I'd give them the greatest show on earth. The build-up to the collapse. The final payments for the venue were due 2 days before the wedding. Guess whose card was on file? Mine. I could have simply canceled everything, but that would have been mercy. I wanted them to watch it crumble. Instead, I froze every payment. The venue? Frozen. The caterer? Frozen. The floral designer? Frozen. The DJ? Frozen. I didn't call. I didn't explain. I simply let the silence grow. Meanwhile, I sent out the message to the guests. Wedding canceled. Please do not attend. And I arranged for one last delivery to the venue. The giant black box. They would see it. Everyone would. And when they opened it, when the truth spilled out like smoke from a magic trick gone wrong, they would know exactly who pulled the curtain back. And it wouldn't be the clown. It would be the architect of their own humiliation. The morning of Emma's big day dawned gray and lifeless, an omen even she couldn't ignore. I arrived early, not as a brother, not even as a guest, as the architect of her perfect humiliation. The venue stood eerily silent. Rows of white chairs, empty. Tables half set, wilting centerpieces abandoned by caterers who hadn't been paid. No laughter, no chatter, no parade of arriving guests. Just cold wind and tension thick enough to slice through. Emma was pacing near the entrance in her $1,000 lace dress, holding her phone to her ear, panic etched into every movement. Her voice cracked across the empty courtyard. Where is everybody? Where are they? She redialed. Again. Each unanswered call scraping away at her sanity. Dad stormed over to the event coordinator, red-faced and barking. This is your fault. You screwed something up. The coordinator, a tired woman who looked like she hated her job today more than usual, just shook her head. No, sir. We received notice of event cancellation yesterday. We informed vendors and posted the advisory. Emma turned on her, shrieking. What notice? Who sent it? I stood back, watching it all unfold like a calm spectator at a gladiator match. And then, the cherry on top. A delivery van pulled up to the driveway. Everyone froze. 2 men in black uniforms carefully rolled out a massive, matte black box on a dolly. 6 feet wide. 10 feet tall. No labels. No markings. Emma's face twisted in confusion and terror. What is that? Dad yelled at the men. Hey, that's not ours. Get it out of here. But the delivery guys ignored him, because I had signed the delivery order. They positioned the box dead center under the empty wedding arch. The crowd, what little there was venue staff, confused caterers, Emma's 2 bewildered bridesmaids, watched in paralyzed silence. Then the mechanism inside the box clicked. The front panel burst open with a loud bang, and out jumped a clown, fully costumed, wild red hair, huge polka dot suit, monstrous painted grin. In one hand, a giant cardboard sign, wedding canceled. In the other, an air horn. The clown let out a deafening honk and began laughing. Not just laughing, cackling. Manic, uncontrollable, shrieking laughter that echoed across the empty venue like a ghost curse. Emma staggered backward, one gloved hand flying to her mouth. No, no, she whispered. This isn't happening. This isn't happening. She turned frantically to Dad, to Mom, to the bridesmaids. But there was no one else to turn to. No guests, no applause, no music. Only the clown, dancing in manic circles around her destroyed wedding, holding the flashing sign high above his head. Dad tried to charge at the clown, but he slipped on the stone path and went sprawling. Mom started sobbing, sinking onto one of the empty chairs. Emma just stood there, paralyzed, eyes glassy, mouth open in a silent scream. I stepped forward, calm, deliberate. Looking for your guests? I asked her, voice low but clear. She spun toward me, furious, broken. You did this. I shrugged. Did what? Warn them about a circus without a tent? Tell them the show was canceled because the star performer was a fraud. Her makeup was running down her cheeks in thick black rivers. The $1,000 dress now looked like a joke costume at a Halloween party. The clown skipped past again, blasting the air horn with joyful abandon. The final moment. Emma screamed, a raw, animal noise that tore out of her chest, and threw her bouquet at the clown. It missed by a mile. The clown bowed theatrically, still laughing, then somersaulted onto the grass, waving goodbye like a performer exiting stage left. It was over. Not with a bang, not with a whispered apology, but with a scream, a clown, an erect girl in a muddy white dress standing alone under an empty arch. I turned and walked away, the sound of that hysterical, hollow laughter following me like a soundtrack. The perfect ending to a play that had been rigged against me from the start. But now? Now I was the director. And their show was canceled. I didn't stay to watch the final collapse. Didn't need to. Some things you just know are burning even when you turn your back on them. That night, I checked my phone only once. Dozens of missed calls from Mom. Several from Dad. Emma, unbelievably, left a string of voicemails swinging between begging and threatening. Fix this. I'll sue you. Please, you don't understand. You're still my brother. I didn't reply. Not to a single one. Instead, I sat at my kitchen table, in the small apartment I was already half-packed to leave, and watched the city lights blink outside. There was something liberating about the silence. About the fact that, for the first time in years, they couldn't reach me. The aftermath. In the next days, their stories started to shift. Emma posted cryptic messages online. Sometimes family betrays you in the worst ways. Dad dropped his version in a few Facebook groups. Money makes people crazy. We forgive, but we don't forget. Forgive? I laughed. They'd steal your wallet, punch you in the face, and then ask you to say sorry for bleeding on them. But the twist was, nobody really cared. No mass sympathy for them. No outreach. Most people moved on by Monday. The wedding wasn't a major event for anyone except Emma and her delusions of grandeur. My own plan. I spent that week doing something better. I resigned from my job, walked into my boss's office, dropped a neat little resignation letter, and said, I'm done letting people take advantage of me. Starting today. She nodded, like she understood more than she said. I'd already lined up something different, a small opportunity upstate. Nothing flashy. Just a quiet little property maintenance contract at a lakeside town no one had ever heard of. But it was mine. My decision. My new start. The unexpected twist. I thought that was it. Until the letter arrived. A week after the non-wedding, a battered envelope slipped under my apartment door. No return address. Just my name. Inside. A short, printed letter. From Derek. Emma's almost husband. I sat down hard when I read it. I figured you'd want to know. I was never in love with her. She blackmailed me into the engagement. I was about to back out, but then I heard what you did. You saved me. I'm gone. Left town. Don't look for me. But thank you. Blackmailed. The word echoed. I reread it 3 times. Derek wasn't a spineless fool like I thought. He was trapped. Manipulated. Same as I had been for years, only his leash had a shiny diamond on it. And somehow, through all my anger, through the wreckage I left behind, I had saved someone else too. Without even meaning to. The family's last attempts. That same day, Mom called again. I finally answered. Please, she said immediately. No hello. No breathing space. Emma's not well. She's not eating. She's not sleeping. She says you ruined her life. You need to fix this. Not my circus, I said calmly. Not my monkeys. You were supposed to be her brother, Mom snapped, the syrup of fake concern slipping. You think leaving her like this makes you better? I smiled, unseen. It doesn't make me better, I said. It makes me free. I hung up. I blocked their numbers. I changed my email. Deleted the old group chats. Signed the new lease. The final move. Before I left town, I made one final stop. The bank. See, a few months ago, when Emma was busy collecting money for her fantasy wedding, she had also convinced my parents to co-sign a loan, using my name as emergency backup. They thought I'd never notice. Thought I'd always be there to bail them out. They were wrong. I handed the bank a stack of documents. Proof of fraud. Withdrawal of consent. Request for full investigation. Their little financial house of cards was about to collapse in ways they hadn't even imagined. The very foundation they built their lives on, my forgiveness, my silence, my willingness to clean up their mess, was gone. Now, they'd have to live in the rubble. New beginning. 2 weeks later, I was standing on a small porch overlooking a silver lake. No buzzing phones. No urgent texts. No fake tears. Just wind in the trees and the first smell of autumn in the air. I signed the final papers that morning. The maintenance business was officially mine. Old, a little worn down, but honest. And with it came a small cabin, nothing fancy, but solid. I moved in that same day. Carried everything myself. Box after box. Not a single thing from my old life made it across the threshold. When I was done, I changed my phone number. Printed it out. Framed it. Hung it over the door. Right above it, a small wooden sign I carved myself. No clowns allowed. 3 months later, a letter showed up. No name on the envelope. No stamp. Hand-delivered. I opened it on the porch of my cabin, under a sky smeared with gold and blue. Inside, a single sheet of paper. You should come home. Emma's in therapy now. She forgives you. Mom says Christmas won't be the same without you. Dad says we all made mistakes. I read it twice. Laughed once. Forgives me? They still didn't get it. I wasn't waiting for forgiveness. I wasn't asking for a seat at their rotten table. I built my own table, and it didn't have room for thieves, liars, or people who only loved you when your wallet was open. The last test. Out of curiosity, I checked my old Facebook account quietly, under a burner profile. Emma had posted again. A photo of a sad, half-empty Christmas dinner table. Caption. Some people will always choose pride over family. Hope you're happy. Dad had commented underneath. Forgive and forget, even when they abandon you. Mom had added a sad face emoji. They were still playing the same broken record. Still rewriting history with the same cheap ink. Still pretending that love meant obedience. Still pretending that if they cried loud enough, I'd come crawling back to fix the mess they made. The realization. That was when it finally clicked. It wasn't that they hated me. It wasn't even that they didn't love me. They just loved what I could do for them. Loved my silence. Loved my guilt. Without it, they were nothing. And I wasn't broken anymore. I didn't need a war. I didn't need to explain myself to people who built an entire life where I was just a backup plan. I didn't even hate them. You can't hate a black hole for pulling things in. It's just what it does. You just have to walk away far enough that its gravity can't touch you. The final gesture. That afternoon, I took a walk into town. Small. Quiet. The kind of place where people say good morning and mean it. I stopped by the local post office. Filled out a simple form. New name on the mailbox. No forwarding address. Then I walked to the hardware store. Bought a new lock for my gate. Hung a small, hand-carved wooden sign under my mailbox. Simple. Clear. Private property. No clowns allowed. A couple of the old-timers chuckled when they saw it. One nodded and said, good policy. I smiled, tucked my hands into my jacket pockets, and looked out over the silver lake stretching endless and free. The unexpected closure. The day I finished settling into my new life, something happened I hadn't expected. I got a call. Not from Emma. Not from Mom. Not from Dad. It was from Derek, the almost groom, the man I unknowingly rescued. He didn't say much. Just that he was somewhere in Montana now. Working construction. Happy. He thanked me. Said that the day I pulled the plug on the wedding was the day he got his life back. Told me he hoped I found peace too. Then he hung up. No long speeches. No promises to stay in touch. Just two men, strangers really, bound by the same simple truth. Sometimes you don't escape the circus. Sometimes you burn it down. The final thought. I wasn't angry anymore. Not sad. Not bitter. I was just done. And you know what? It turns out peace doesn't come with fireworks or grand gestures. It comes in the quiet moments. and knowing that you are no longer anyone's fool. I wasn't the clown. I wasn't the sideshow. I was the man who burned down the tent, salted the earth, and walked away whistling. Because sometimes surviving isn't enough. Sometimes the real victory is in becoming so untouchable that no one dares build a cage for you ever again.